Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Ryan Turley here, and today I have got a traditional carnitas recipe that we're going to be throwing on the Traeger Grill. So the first thing we're going to want to do is inject the pork shoulder with a marinade. What I've got here is Spanglish Asadero's citrus marinade mixed with some apple juice, and we're going to use this injector to throw some of that into the meat. That way inside of this pork shoulder has just tons of juices, tons of flavor. Pull some of this amazing marinade into our injector here. And then rather than just coat this piece of meat with the injection every inch or so, we're actually going to find specific muscles to throw this into. As you're working the injection in, you're going to want to slowly pull out the needle. So this is going to be adding a ton of flavor, a ton of moisture, keeping every bite just so juicy and so tender. Kind of coming in at some different angles here. Next step is to apply the dry rub. The first coat is our Spanglish Asadero's signature all-purpose rub, and we are going to coat this pork shoulder very generously, as you can see here. Now we're ready to throw on the next layer of dry rub. This is the Mexican Ancho Chile from Spanglish Asadero. And we're going to apply another generous coating of this. We've only applied rub to one side so far, so we're going to finish up this side and then flip it and do the same thing on the next. So when your pork shoulder is all injected and fully marinated, it should be looking something like that. And when your meat looks really delicious before it's cooked, it's always a good sign. So the pellet smoker has heated up to about 250 degrees. And I'm on a Traeger today. The Tailgater, just a little guy. And we are gonna throw this on. So I've got a aluminum pan underneath to catch all those drippings, and you'll understand a little bit later on why I've done that, because we are going to reuse all those drippings throughout this entire cook. So let's get that in there. We're going to throw an internal probe in there and then check it when it's at about 160 degrees, but also to make sure that that bark has really formed and looks really nice. All right, so the pork's been on for about 5 hours, and I think it's hit a stall. It's at about 150, and it's been there for a good 30 minutes, so it's stalled out. It should be sweating by now. So let's jump in there and take a look. Yeah, she's ready to go. That bark is finished. We're really just looking for color, making sure that that is a nice, deep, dark mahogany brown. All right, so we're ready to pull this pork shoulder off and into this drip pan that's been underneath. We're gonna leave all those juices in there. So let's do that here first. Oh yeah, okay. Now we're ready to add a nice marinade inside of this drip pan. So I've already chopped up some onions here and garlic. A half a cup of Mexican Coke, and you've got to make sure that it is Mexican Coke because it does use cane sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup that you get here in the States. So this is definitely crucial. I'm going to add a half a cup of that. maybe a little bit more here. And then that marinade we were working with that we injected, we're gonna add that as well. All right, one last step, we can't forget the orange juice. So I'm gonna squeeze the juice from one orange here and just drop those peels right in as well. All right, ready to get covered up. And we do have some green tomatillos, some jalapenos, a habanero pepper, and an apple pepper with some onions and garlic that we're gonna make some fresh green salsa as well.
1 hour later.
All right, our carnitas pulled pork shoulder is just about done. It's at about 198 degrees. We're gonna wait for it to get up to about 200, 203. So while that's finishing up, we are going to finish up our salsa. So first we've got our roasted tomatillos that are gonna be thrown in this blender or food processor here. And then we've got our roasted onion, just about half an onion, a whole bunch of cilantro, about 5 or 6 garlic cloves roasted. And we're gonna take the seeds and veins out of all these peppers. The vein is where most of the heat comes from on your peppers, so just better to be more safe than sorry unless you really love heat. So you gotta be really careful to not handle any of the peppers with your bare hands, because there's a chance that you might end up touching your face or your eyes, or worse, another part of your body, and it can really, really burn. So that's why I've got this glove here, just to avoid any capsaicin from dripping into my pores. Everything is all mixed up. Look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? All right, so the carnitas are done. We're still running a temp of 202 degrees. I just took this off. So I'm just gonna cover this up with a couple of towels just to keep any moisture that might be leaking out of those holes inside, to keep this super nice and warm. And we're gonna let this rest for about an hour or more. The salsa is amazing. It is super, super spicy. I actually had to tone it down a little bit with some regular uncooked tomatoes. So if you ever overdo it on salsa and it's way too spicy, just add a couple tomatoes and it'll tone it down quite a bit. So that's ready to go. And then the last thing we need to do is just get our accompaniments and sides, which we're gonna do some white onion and cilantro. Easiest way to cut cilantro, cut off the head or the bunch, wrap it up kind of into like a little burrito, and then you can just slice from there, and it takes care of most all of it at once. And you can just do a couple of rough chops. And that's ready to go as well. All right, so we're heating up the tortillas about 2 at a time on a cast iron. You can use any pan that you have. I've got a tortilla warmer here. They're great. If you don't have one, you can wrap them in a towel or paper towel or really anything you have. But you just throw it in there, and then you're gonna wanna close it again with that towel, and then throw that lid on it, and I should keep it super warm for at least 30 minutes. The carnitas pork shoulder has been sitting for about an hour. It's at about 185 degrees, so we've only lost like 20 degrees of temperature, which is pretty awesome. We've got all of our sides ready to go. This smoked tomatillo salsa, cilantro, and onions and some lime to go on top of the tacos. And our tortillas are heated up and dialed in. So let's jump in here for what we've all been waiting for. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Woo. That smells so good. So I'm gonna remove these orange peels here. And I've got these bear claws that are gonna help me kind of break into this nice and clean. Oh, yes. Oh, wow, look at that, look at that. Wow. So we're doing this in the marinade and all of the juices from the pork, just so it'll reabsorb, all the meat will reabsorb all of these amazing juices. But this meat looks so good and it is falling apart. Look at this. Look at this. Look at those shreds. Oh, so good. It is swimming in juices now, just reabsorbing all of that amazing broth that we created. So now we are gonna go through all this meat, see if we can find any pieces of fat. If so, we're just gonna pull those out, but this meat looks really clean. Looks like all the fat kind of burned off. Let me find a nice piece here. Just look at how nice this shreds. Look at this. Look at this. Oh. First taste test. Right here. So tender. We've got a hit of sweetness. There's the citrus coming through in there. Definitely a little bit of spice. I mean, we've got all those flavors working together so well. This bark. Should get every once in a while a nice little hit of that crust. Unbelievable. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear about them below. If you try this dish, please let me know. Also, be sure to like this video if you made it this far. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Most of the people that are watching my videos are not subscribed, so it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that subscribe button and slap that notification bell so you don't miss another upload. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.